Well, I'm going to insert see if it'll focus on you. I think it's like focusing on you, but I think it's already focusing. You have the microphone.
Yes.
Hi, friends. Let's check on our phone that it's working.
Yep.
Oh, good out.
Yes.
Work.
Okay, hang on. Oh, yes. It's like a weird inception for me.
It is a good inception, and it definitely has a delay.
Yes.
It's like live 3 minutes later. Okay. Yeah, see, it's super weird inception. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Hold on. There we go. Cannot watch a delayed version of myself. Hi, guys. Welcome to our second episode of Going Live with Perfect Day Company. If you guys aren't familiar with us, basically we do day of coordination and content creation all over the Four Corners area. So venues all over Durango, as well as Silverton, Uray, and that's pretty much it. We're trying to reel in some of our destinations. But today we are going to talk all things DJs, music, dance floor, about your wedding. And so if you guys have any questions, you can always comment below and we'll get back to them later. You can also rewatch this later on YouTube, Instagram, and we'll just get to it. We're going to start out, actually introduce yourself first, and then we're going to start out with yay or nay trends in the music world right now.
I'm Rose. I've been a coordinator. This is my 5th season coordinating weddings.
So fun. Okay. Wait, what was your first dance song? Do you know? Or do you know what you walked down the aisle to?
Yes. I walked down the aisle to Heaven's Knife by Josh Garrels. And our first dance song was Avalanche by Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors.
That's like so fun. I actually never had a first dance.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't dance at my wedding. But I walked down to Cannon in D because that's what my mom walked down to. She was like very adamant that that's what I was gonna walk down the aisle to. Okay, music trends, yay or nay. We're just gonna run through. My big disclaimer before we get rolling on these trends is that we're gonna answer as if it were our own wedding, but that's not to say you shouldn't necessarily do this at your wedding. We're just gonna tell you what we think. We are big advocates of you doing what you want at your wedding, not what we want, because it's not our wedding. So the first one is an all request playlist from guests. Basically, you don't give your DJ any information. They're just playing guest requests.
Nay.
Nay? Why?
Because I think you should trust your DJ. I think you should give them your style and your vibe and trust that they are professionals and can give you good recommendations.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that too. Okay, do not playlist. I would say definitely yes. I really like do not playlist, but it's more, again, to give your DJ like an idea of your style and what you like and what you don't like. And then they'll be able to use your do not playlist to know probably 200 other songs that you probably won't want to play. It's not like they're just not going to play those. They're going to use that as an idea of what you don't like.
Pick up on your vibe.
Yeah. Okay, line dance, Cupid shuffle, wobble, like all the like everyone on the dance floor type songs.
Okay.
You personally at your wedding.
Probably nay at my own wedding, but I see the merit. Gets people out there.
So you know what? This is going to be so funny. If you are in a fraternity or sorority, I would say yay, because actually some of my favorite dance party weddings were people who had like all these line dances and group dances from their college days, and all their college friends get on the dance floor. I think that's so fun.
It is fun to like get everyone out there.
Yeah. My friends would all be against it though, personally.
Yeah, probably the same.
This is something that DJs are really, really familiar with too. So they're not going to be like their feelings won't get hurt, or it's not like they won't be able to get people on the dance floor if you're like, we don't want any line dances. And same thing, they're not going to be like offended if you're like, I love line dances.
Yeah.
They've seen both, and we've seen both. Okay, you go.
Letting the DJ MC the night.
Always yes. Yeah. Sometimes you can get creative and have like your dad maybe say a prayer and transition into dinner, and then maybe have like your aunt welcome everyone to the dance floor or something. But I think it works the best if you have someone who is experienced in moving people. People don't realize how much at weddings you're having to like move people from point A to point B.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Let's see. No slow song rule after the first dance. I've actually never seen this.
Yeah. Nay.
I love
think
slow
it's fun.
songs.
I know. I want to dance with my husband at someone's wedding.
Sometimes that helps get even, like, people think the fast songs get people in the dance floor, but sometimes the slow dances help too.
Yeah.
I would definitely read the room. If you have all single people who didn't bring dates, probably no slow songs.
Yeah.
Because I've been to weddings where there's not any couples, but if there are couples, the slow songs are fun.
Live band only with no DJ at all.
I think that this can work. It is a little bit tricky. Sometimes bands aren't as experienced at emceeing.
Mm-hmm. Or
And so they think they're just playing music. And so if you have like a wedding band, they're a lot better at like, okay, they'll do your ceremony, they'll kind of help transition people and kind of announce people. But no band can play for your 6-hour wedding. So usually finding a band DJ combo would be ideal, because they're gonna have to play music while like dinner or whatever. So most people will do like a DJ for the first half of the day and then switch over. Surprise recording or dance. You've actually participated.
I have participated in one. Yay, it's fun. I don't know that I would do it at my wedding. I know that's what we're supposed to answer, but they are really fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
it just depends. If you have a bridesmaids group, I would that would do it.
Yeah.
I would say go for
if
it.
people are gonna be bought in,
yeah, they have to be brought in. Lexi had that wedding that they did like so many choreographed dances. They had like 5 or 6 with all different friend groups.
Yeah.
She said it was like such a party. But all their people were totally bought in and like went full out.
I did a wedding just this year, and they did a surprise singing of the cabinet battle from the musical Hamilton, and I was full yay on that.
That's so fun. Last dance, always yes.
Yay.
I love them. I think it's a really fun way for the couple to slow down at the end of the night. And I also think it's a really nice way to transition your guests, because we can say, hey, let's all move downstairs, or let's move to the after party location, or kind of disperse. And then the couple can have one last dance. So it works well to kind of move your people to the next thing. Sometimes it doesn't fit very well if you want your wedding to like kind of peter out.
Sure.
Though.
Yeah.
You know, if you want it to like transition slowly to an after party, it's hard to like, okay, everyone get off and move out of the room, and we're gonna have a last dance.
But they're a great like ending.
Yeah, this can also be a good alternative if you don't want a first dance. Like you don't want to do something public, but you want to have like a special moment. And this is usually it happens with people cleared out of the room. I guess you could do a last dance with everyone there.
Yeah, like a big last group dance. I've done a couple of that. Big or small dance floor?
Well, you know, I always say small.
I say small.
Really?
Yeah. It's more intimate, and
you want the bar as close to the dance floor as possible, so that when people have to wait in line to get a drink, they also have to dance.
Yes.
It's like my strategy.
I like small. I mean, you know, I love lobby dancing, but
I know that's what I thought you were gonna say.
No, I would go
more
small
like
dance
the
floor.
high ceiling.
Yeah.
Small dance floor, high ceiling.
Yeah.
Like open ceiling.
the small
And you're
dance
outside.
floor makes it feel like even if you only have like 15 people on there, it's still a dance floor.
For sure. Okay, let's see. Fake exit. We put this one on here because we recently had several weddings that had fake exits. Let me define fake exit. A fake exit is when you have your wedding and your photographer contract ends before your wedding actually ends. And so it's basically to get like the sparkler pictures or the glow stick pictures or confetti or whatever, because your photographer has to leave. I love exits, I love confetti, and I love sparklers, but I would rather not do an exit than do a fake exit.
Same, like
So
where you come back
every
in.
time.
Nay, if I have a couple that wants to do it, I always say we like reframe it as like sparkler party or like confetti party.
Or maybe even do it at the beginning of the dance
Yes,
party. Like
on the
let's
dance
kick
floor.
off the dance floor with the sparklers.
Yes.
Obviously, that have to be outside. The tricky part is if you, let's just say you do a fake exit at 9 p.m., you're asking every person from your wedding to like move to where you're going to do an exit or sparkler party or whatever, and then you're having to like bring them all back to the dance floor.
It like can really wreck the vibe.
It just wrecks it. I don't know if I've ever seen it done completely well. The other thing too is you're kind of missing like a good chunk of your DJ contract or your band contract. So we did have one that like they got back on the dance floor, but they missed like 30 minutes. Of
it's a lot to orchestrate.
Dancing time. So it just takes longer than you would think.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we're gonna move into like pros and cons of DJ versus a live band versus just doing a playlist. Pros and cons. You guys will hear me say this in every one of these live videos. We really are happy to coordinate however you guys want. If you're live band people, we've worked with awesome ones that we love. We work with live music for the ceremony and then DJ for the reception. We've done DJ for the ceremony and live music for the reception. So there could be really any combination. I would say it's really personal preference, but it really, really for this one specifically will boil down to your budget. A live band is going to cost almost like 3 to 5 times more and sometimes even higher than a DJ. And so that might be a big factor. And I definitely would not say that a band is more a preference. I don't think it's a requirement for like a fun dance party. Like we've had some really talented DJs that I think music was a high priority for the couple and they still executed that well with a DJ. I would definitely also not write off the fact that you can do some sort of combo. So you can do DJ for the ceremony, like I said, you can do DJ for the ceremony and then switch over to live band or vice versa. And we have some really talented DJs here in town that actually do that. So Rob Webster typically will do like a live music for dinner and the ceremony and cocktail hour and then switch over to DJing. $6 String Band has a really awesome combo where they'll do the band for any part of the night and then they partner with one of the band members, Steven Sellers, and he DJs as well. And then we also have a lot of like string quartets or like live guitar. We worked with Horse Shirt this week, and they did some really, really fun like dinner country music stuff. And then they transitioned to Cody with CodeStar, did their DJ. And then we also work with Myers at Stand Alone, and he's so great. So shout out to all of the awesome bands, DJs, combos that we work with. There's lots more. So if you guys ever are looking for a specific DJ or band within a certain budget or style, let us know. We probably have 30. Bands are typically really willing to travel too. So we've had a lot come from Denver, Albuquerque, things like that. I guess DJs in theory would be willing to travel too, but we have so many good ones here. We don't typically have DJs come in. Okay, so tell them all about booking your DJ.
Okay, I feel like with any vendor, you kind of want to interview them, see if they're going to be the right fit vibe for your wedding. I think like to preface, anyone that we like introduce you to via the Perfect Deco is like someone we fully stand behind and would love like to work with and is going to do like a great job at your wedding. I think the things that you want to ask are like what their personal style is, you know, just like you have your own personal style for your music, your DJ is going to have that too. So asking like, are they mixing their own music? Are they playing a playlist? Are they like just taking the songs that you recommend, or are they like really trying to figure out like what your vibe is? I think it's important to ask like how they get people onto the dance floor if it feels like nothing is happening. I've had some weddings where it's like nobody is out there for certain kinds of songs, and like you might have a DJ who's like not feeling that out. You're like, I think you need to change up that.
You're gonna have to try something else. This is not working.
And then you have other DJs who are like, oop, nobody liked that song, not gonna play anything like that. So figuring out like how they handle that so that you can have a really great dance party all night. As always, I think it's great to look at reviews of any vendor you're going to hire, but DJ too, see what people say about them, what they like about them, how often and how long they've been DJing. I mean, you can have great DJs who are brand new, but I also think it's really helpful to see like who's been in the game. Do they like working weddings? Are they excited to be at weddings?
Do they work weddings at all? Sometimes DJs don't work weddings.
Yes.
So that might be a pro for you. Like, I don't want my DJ to sound like a typical wedding DJ. Or it might be a con because they're not going to have as much experience with like a wedding.
Yes.
Yeah. I also think asking how comfortable they are with emceeing. Almost every DJ will agree to do it, but asking how they handle it, because that can really make some like really important moments kind of awkward. If they don't know how to
they're
transition.
not handling like some DJs will handle a big wedding just like they would a small wedding or vice versa. Like you should not be handling a 35-person wedding the same way that you handle a 240-person wedding. The announcements need to be made different. Are they comfortable walking around making announcements when it's a smaller group or it's not, you don't want to say like, okay, and now we're gonna all transition over here when it's like 20 people. That's just awkward.
Yeah. I think a DJ who's willing to get on a call with you and chat through your preferences. And
all of them
they will all be willing to do that, hopefully.
If someone's not willing, you should not hire them.
Yes.
Don't hire someone who's not willing to be on a call with you.
No. I think you can pick up a lot on a call, like if the vibe is going to fit for you.
Yeah.
And if they have the energy that you want for your dance party. And then
I will say, most of our DJs, at least in this area, do not have a great web presence, and so don't be deterred by that.
Yes.
I think sometimes, you're like, well, I can't find anything of this person online. Some of our best DJs here in town don't have any web presence. They don't really have a great social media presence. I would say the best decision making would be getting on that call, talking to them, feeling if you're confident, and then you can definitely ask them for references from couples that they've worked with. And so if you really are like wanting more social proof, I think calling some of their past couples would be a good option. And obviously, again, we're not going to recommend anyone we wouldn't.
Yeah,
we haven't seen the amazing.
And if you find someone that is not on our normal list, ask us, because if we haven't worked with them, maybe we know something or know someone. We'd be happy to give you our thoughts. Things that your DJ is going to want to know, obviously your date and location. But when it comes to location, your ceremony location, your reception location, in Colorado, especially in Durango, in the area, you might be having a ceremony that's like up in the middle of the mountains, and then a reception that's down at a venue around. So they're going to need to know, like, are you hiring them for the service for your ceremony and your reception, just your reception? What does that look like?
Some DJs quote through the whole day. Some do ceremony and reception different. Some do an hour package.
Yes.
So every single DJ isn't necessarily going to be like apples to apples. You're going to have to compare a little bit. So it's really important that they know some of those logistics so that they can give you an accurate quote.
Yes, and some it's a one rate, no matter where you're doing it, how many locations. So they're going to want to know that so they can quote you, and that's something you're going to want to ask as well. Like, are you doing hourly? Is this like a whole day that I'm paying for? Is this the ceremony sound, the reception sound? That's another thing they're going to want to know, is if you want your ceremony mic'd, which I highly recommend, unless you're doing something really, really tiny. It comes through way better.
I have a personal 4-row cutoff, so if you have more than 4 rows, you really, really do need to have your ceremony mic. It doesn't matter how loud your pastor or officiant is going to project. They always don't project that
as much as you think they're going to, and sound just travels. They're going to want to know, like, if you want a lapel mic for your ceremony, or if you want a mic on a stand or a handheld, what your preferences are, and they can let you know what they have. What your style is. So if you want like country music, if you want pop remixes, if you want just Taylor Swift or no Taylor Swift.
Also, they're music people, so don't feel like you have to define your style. Send them like your top 5 favorite playlists of all time. Like, this is the playlist I like vibe to in the car. This is the playlist I play with my friends. And this is the playlist I play at the lake. And they're gonna be able to pick up on your style based on that. You don't feel like you have to like curate.
They do this all the time. They'll want to know your timeline. So if you have a coordinator, which obviously we highly recommend that you have a coordinator, they're going to want to know who that is and then what your timeline is. So timeline of your ceremony, they're going to want to know the timeline of your first dance, your grand entrance, your exit, your father-daughter, mother-son, any other special dances, your toasts, your dinner. They're going to want to know when all those things are, because they're going to help move along the flow of the night, kind of in coordination with your coordinator, moving from, dinner into toasts, into dancing, into exit.
I think more than any other vendor, they're responsible for the communication of your timeline. Photographers as well, but for those who don't have a coordinator, I think DJs typically pick up a lot of the slack.
Absolutely. I know.
I think the DJs typically pick up a lot of that slack of like moving people throughout the day and making sure people know where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing.
And obviously they're gonna want to know song choices. So there's a lot more songs that you can choose than you think. People always think of like walking down the aisle and then first dance.
So if we walk through, I guess we should have listed them here, but if we
I can walk through.
I was like, if we walk through the day, I always tell people this doesn't necessarily have to do with your DJ, but you need to make your playlist for what you're going to get right into. I think the people who curate that, it sets the tone.
Sets
for
the
their day
vibe.
so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you want to know what kind of music do you want while your guests are getting seated. So do you want like, pretty violin music? Do you want country music? What do you want for like
feel more celebratory and actually get the party started right there from the get-go,
before
right
they're
when people
seated?
Arrive.
And then you'll want your first processional song, which a lot of the times is the first song, and it's a lot of the times it's everyone except for the bride. You can break it up if you want like a song for family and then a song for bridal party and then a song for you. It's totally up to you. But I would say what we see most often is one song for everyone, family, groom,
bridesmaids, groomsmen,
ring
so
bearers.
usually those flower girls go with the bride.
Yeah. And then a song for bride and whoever's escorting the bride. So you'll want to know those. You also want to know the song for when you're exiting back down the aisle. So whatever, a lot of times it's like a more, party type happy song. And then you want to know what kind of music you want for your cocktail hour. We see a lot of like house jazz or just like kind of more chill music for that. And then you're going to have a grand entrance sometimes. Sometimes you want a song with your grand entrance. Maybe you want like one big party hype song for everybody, or a couple, one for your bridal party, one for you and your new spouse. So whatever that looks like. And then you also really want dinner music. So what are your vibes for dinner? If you have like a combo of a DJ and a band, is the band playing? Is the DJ playing? What does that look like for you? And then you'll kind of move into toast, which you usually don't have music for those. And then people pick cake cutting songs, like what song you want playing.
Such fun cake cutting songs.
So like what song do you want to cut your
I
cake
would
to?
not remember that if I was planning my wedding.
No.
I don't remember cake cutting songs, but I think they're so fun.
Yeah.
I should have put that in the Yay to News. Yay to cake cutting songs.
I think it's fun because everyone's looking at you, so it's kind of nice to have something playing. So a cake cutting song, and then you've got your dance song. So what song are you and your new spouse going to dance to? If you're doing a father-daughter, mother-son, any of those like kind of really special.
Sister dances,
Yes.
anniversary dances. People sometimes play like the shoe game. We've seen bouquet toss and barter songs.
Yeah.
So really,
Last
this is
dance
a place to say like,
songs.
okay, we talked about a do not playlist, but you can also have like a must playlist.
Yes.
These are my top 5. I really recommend not making that longer than maybe 10 because then your DJ doesn't have the freedom to like adjust the dance floor as needed. But if you have like a 10 must play songs, like these are my jams, or this is the song I really want to come on so I can dance with my brother or whatever that
For sure.
like throughout the evening and the dance party.
I mean, I think like you're kind of moving into like what we've seen not go so well.
Yeah.
I think a DJ has the potential to like really make the vibe of your day.
I think, I don't know, this is actually probably applicable to every vendor, but it comes up most often with DJs. There is a huge, huge, huge difference between an $800 DJ and a $2,500 DJ. So $2,500, I would say, is the average in our area. 2,500 to like 4,000 probably. That is where I would anticipate spending if you are leaning towards having a DJ. Bands are gonna start closer to like 6,000 to 20,000.
Yeah.
We've seen 25,000, 30,000 for a band. That being said, we love our $800 DJs, but basically what you're paying them for is to maybe MC. They're not as experienced though. They're probably going to have lower level equipment, which is fine if you're okay with that. And they're likely going to, they're not going to do any custom mixing. So they're just going to be pressing play, pressing pause. They do a lot less fading. They do a lot less sound adjustment, a lot less moving around of speakers. Basically a playlist. So I typically tell people, if DJ maybe isn't your top priority, it probably is better to just do your own playlist, and maybe we can talk about finding someone to MC or hiring a DJ just for the ceremony so we can get that audio really well. I typically will tell people if you can't spend the $2,500, you might as well do it yourself. I think you're kind of wasting the $800,000 if you're just paying someone at that lower level. There's just a huge difference between that low level and the high level. That's probably the biggest mistake I see.
Yeah, I mean, my own personal wedding, I wish I would have spent money on a
DJ,
the higher price DJ. I think it would have made the day flow a lot better and the dance party better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say like the biggest mistakes I've seen are like equipment related, probably like not bringing the right equipment, not testing the equipment.
This is
not
something
being
that as
prepared.
coordinators, we feel like we can really head off, because before your big day, after we do your 30-day call, we're going to call through your DJ and make sure that they've been to the venue.
Yes.
They're familiar with it. They know how long it's going to take to set up. Some venues like Purgatory, you're having to drive 40 minutes to the ceremony site up the back of the lift. Other venues like Kindle Mountain, you have to run power or have a generator all the way across this giant field. And then other venues like Cascade or the Black Diamond Lodge, your ceremony site doesn't have any power at all. So just trying to figure out the logistics of, do you have extension cords that you need? Do you have a quiet generator? I think a lot of couples do worry about that generator piece. Not all DJs, but most DJs I've worked with I've never ever heard
I mean, they like the whisper generator.
They have the whisper generators, they're back in the forest, and they're very experienced on making sure those are hidden and can't be
Like
seen.
you probably won't. I don't even notice.
Yeah.
Or know.
Yeah.
I also think like some of the other mistakes or things
Yeah.
I've seen not go as well as you would hope are obviously not playing the songs at the right time. One of the ways that you can kind of avoid that, or one, hiring a coordinator so we can make sure we're all like on the same
Yes,
page,
exactly.
but also making sure you get your songs to your DJ ahead of time, especially since like a lot of these places don't have good service.
They have to download
You gotta
them
download
ahead of
it.
time. Exactly.
So yeah, making sure that you get them ahead, and if you want it to start in a certain place and you want it to end in a certain place, being really clear about that. And
bands really need closer to like 60 to 90 days
To learn.
for your song choices, because they're learning your songs. So that's important just to know that timeline in your head. If they're not learning the songs, they just need to download. We really say about 20 to 30 days.
Yeah.
That's plenty of time. So if you book your DJ a year out, don't panic that you have to have your song choices to them right away. I think that 30-day window is really solid. And as far as getting them your song choices, I highly encourage you not to wait till the last week.
agreed.
Funny enough, so when you start planning your wedding, there's all these things you have to do. You have to book all your vendors and figure out your initial timeline, send out your invites. And then there's this huge lull between that and about maybe 60 days where there's not much to do. And I always tell people that is the best time to work on your song choices, because once you get in that 60 to 30 day window, you're worrying about how many salad, well, you're not worrying about this, your coordinator's worrying about it, but how many salad forks you have and your final choices and letting everyone know the final details. And so it's not the best time to pick your songs. I always say like do that before. Weirdly enough, it seems to be the thing people leave for last. Almost
Yes.
always.
Oh,
like
yeah.
people like, we'll have the whole timeline done and they'll be like, well, we're not quite sure on our song choices. Don't be that person. I was like,
Yeah.
I think it causes more undue stress than
I
is
agree.
needed for your wedding.
And that's how like some of those things can come up, is if like the DJ didn't have the song choice until the day before.
Mhm.
And we're all like, we can all be flexible and we can make things work, but I think the sooner the better.
Mhm.
We kind of talked about like how early a DJ should arrive. The only other like, I think big things I've seen come up are they not there in time to set up everything they need to get set up.
That usually happens when the ceremony, cocktail hour, and the reception setup are in 3 different locations. It just is a little bit of work logistically, because they're having to unload and set up everything for the reception, and they're having to go over here and get everything ready and set up for the ceremony. So just making sure you're accounting for travel time, the logistics of that, they know where they're going. I've had DJs get like lost on the way to ceremony sites. These are things that your coordinator will typically fix, and anyone we recommend, we're not worried about them showing up excessively late. Though there's a few that have been late a few times. You know who you are if you're watching this. But I would say you should trust both your coordinator and your DJ as far as arrival time,
For
because
sure.
some DJs arrive at 10 a.m. and other ones, I usually say like 2 hours is probably about the sweet spot of arriving 2 hours before they need to start playing anything. But they'll tell you some of them want 4, some want 6, and we have a few that want as much time as possible.
We love it. Okay. What is your favorite dance floor moment from a wedding you've done? I know.
Well, you know I'm a confetti girl, so anything with confetti. Sometimes it goes better because people have like a good drop song. So if we are doing confetti at your wedding, I suggest picking like a song that has like a really good drop.
Sure.
Because I feel like the confetti moments are like more of an impact. So those are always my favorite. Or there's something special about private property weddings that have like open air dancing
Yes.
with the string lights.
So good.
And so some of my favorites, like Top of the Pines up near on the way to Telluride, it just has the most incredible view. And so having the dancing like out in the open air is so special. But we did outside dancing at the Wyman Hotel once too. It's just like so pretty with the stars. And so yeah, those are my favorite. What are yours?
Mine is, I have a specific one.
Really?
It was last summer. It was a private property wedding out on the family's property, out in this like kind of gulch, open air. Steven was DJing, like big string lights, and they were playing "Gimme, Gimme, Gimme" by ABBA, which was last year's like big dance song.
Yeah, so funny.
And it was just like everybody was on the dance floor. No one was sitting. Everyone was out. The vibes were so high.
That's what I was thinking about, like Gwen and Brian's at the Black Diamond Lodge. There was this moment where they were dancing in the lobby, and you went outside, and you could like hear the music, and you could also like see the strobe lights, and it was like the most picturesque, like what you want for a wedding, of just like people having so much fun. They were one of the ones that had so many college friends that they were like doing all their like fun dances.
Yeah.
I love any venue that you can like get a top shot.
Same.
Photographer, those are fun. And then we also have like one of our coordinators is getting married later this summer, and they're going to do like a ton of swing dancing and like ballroom dancing. So I'm excited to kind of see how that plays out too. But the dance floor is like such a fun portion. One like total side note, and we'll talk about this at bartending, but one thing that can kind of impact your dance floor is like the location of the bar.
For
so
sure.
I would definitely like, as my like one aside, just say maybe can take into consideration where your bar is in relation to your dance floor, because I've seen that kind of impact the space negatively. You think anything else for DJs or music?
No, but hire a DJ.
I know, hire a DJ. I was like, maybe in our last video, maybe like hire for it.
Hire a DJ.
Yeah, it is one of the things I will say that you'll see commonly in your coordinator, your planner's contract is to not press play on playlists. So you do opt to not have a DJ when you work with us. We typically just say, hey, pick a family member that's going to be in charge of it, and then we're happy to remind them which songs to wear and cue them just like we would a DJ, but we typically will not be the ones to press. I mean, I've screwed it up so many times.
It's not
on a video. It is not my area of expertise to press play when you walk down the aisle. And so if you can dedicate like a family member or something like that, we're happy to kind of, you can practice, and we're happy to cue that person. But it is pretty typical that your planner or coordinator are not going to DJ your wedding.
Or
so
MC it.
hire a DJ.
Yes.
Rose had a really fun time emceeing once.
I've done it multiple times.
It's like every time I'm not doing that.
I don't think you want me emceeing your wedding.
Bye guys, we're gonna go live. I told myself I was gonna look up what the next one is. I think it's catering next Thursday. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.